25-cent mistake took down one of the most prolific serial killers that roamed around New York. On today's episode of East Coast Killers, we delve deep into the mind and methodology of Joel Rifkin, the 25-cent killer.
1989 to 1993, a predator roamed the dimly lit streets of New York looking for the perfect opportunity to snatch his next victim. In March of 1989, Joel Rifkin claimed his first victim, who was 25-year-old female prostitute Heidi Balch, after he bludgeoned her and strangled her to death. Shortly after, suspicion began to rise after more and more bodies were found and went missing. With no trace and no evidence of any suspect, a near impossible case was at the hands of the FBI. Yet nearly 17 vanished victims later, the cops had everything they needed to put this case to sleep.
Born in 1959, Joel Rifkin was put into the hands of two college students, yet a short 3 weeks later, he was then adopted by two loving parents. Rifkin struggled socially, causing him to be a target for bullies at a young age. He tried to fit in by joining the track team and the yearbook staff, but was bullied off both the programs, not to mention his inabilities athletically. He struggled academically as well, despite having an IQ of 128. It's also argued that he had undiagnosed dyslexia, which could be the answer to his poor performance in school. Under all of this was an untold story that had yet to be uncovered. In the midst of his high school days was when Rifkin began to have daydreams of raping and stabbing women. Rifkin was inspired by the film Frenzy, leading to Rifkin's late-night missions of stalking prostitutes. Fast forward a few years, now attending Nassau Community College, he would constantly miss class, spending the time with prostitutes. This caught up quickly, leaving Rifkin with no more money, making him move back with his parents. For years, he continued his fantasies until one day he made his dream come true. It was the late afternoon and his mom had to leave for a business trip, and watching the time tick, Rifkin waited until his mother left. He invited female prostitute Heidi Balch to his house, where he bludgeoned her and strangled her to death. Rifkin severed her limbs and head, dismembering the body, and spread her remains throughout New York. 2 weeks later, a head was found on a golf course, yet the identity was unknown. Yet for Rifkin, this did not matter. It was the beginning and the end for him. Over the course of 4 years, he managed to kill 16 more victims, all female prostitutes, and strangled, bludgeoned, and stabbed them all to death. Eugene Corcoran, a New York State Police lieutenant, was the lead investigator and was left clueless for years as the kill count continued to rise.
Now, Joel Rifkin was almost close to not getting caught and could have continued roaming the streets doing what he was best known for until one Monday night on June 28, 1993 at 3:50 in the morning. Joel was driving back home in his 1984 tan Mazda B2000 pickup truck until two cops by the name of Deborah Spargan and Sean Ruan that morning had realized that he was driving without a license plate. Instead of stopping, Joel took off and the pursuit had lasted for about 20 to 25 minutes until he crashed into a light pole. This is where Joel Rifkin knew was going to be the end of his fun. Officer Spargan and Ruan had begun the search on the car until they realized that something was wrong. They opened the trunk and found the deceased body of a prostitute identified as Tiffany Brasini hidden in the rear. Joel Rifkin knew it was up for him, so he decided to just let it all spill to the cops that night. He confessed to 16 additional murders of female prostitutes from New York City to Long Island areas. Spargan and Ruan knew after this encounter they had a serial killer on their hands. They identified where he lived, being 1492 Garden Street, East Meadow, New York. The police quickly got back up and set off to his house to see if they could receive any clues. Once police had arrived at his home, it was assumed that Joel Rifkin lived an assuming life. His home, a modest house with nearly kept lawn, gave no hint of darkness within. But as investigations will later reveal, this ordinary residence held chilling secrets connected to a series of crimes. During the investigation, police discovered a disturbing collection of personal items belonging to numerous women. These weren't just random objects or a piece of people's lives: a silk scarf, a silver necklace, a driver's license. Each item is silent testament to a life tragical cut short. The presence of these belongings in Rifkin's home painted a grim picture, turning his house from a simple dwelling into an archive of his crimes. The discovery of these items were pivotal in linking Rifkin to the murders. Each piece of evidence served as a thread weaving together a tapestry of horror that ultimately led to his conviction. The once ordinary house became a focal point of the investigation, a place where the mundane facet of suburban life was shattered, revealing the chilling reality of a killer in their midst.
In the end, the Joel Rifkin case remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. His crime struck the community and left an undeniable mark on the legal system. Though convicted and incarcerated, the questions surrounding his motives and the full extent of his actions continue to haunt those involved. The case serves as a somber reflection on the fragility of life and the importance of vigilance in the face of evil. With everyone waiting to find out, justice was served for Rifkin, as he was convicted and sentenced to a lengthy prison term of 203 years, where he would spend the rest of his life rotting away.